All right, let's get going. Go ahead and mute the monitor stream. It's just about done loading. All right, so if I remember correctly, we are just a short amount of money away. Make sure that mic's positioned correctly. All right. How much money do we have? It's not the button I want. There we go. 37 million out of 40. Okay. All right, we are dangerously close to having enough money to buy the last blueprint we need. That said,
Requesting permission to dock. Docking permission granted.
it does look like we maybe we'll get it done. Maybe we'll have the money available before we finish building everything here. Last microchip production's about a third done. Oh well. All right. So I don't want to go off on any long trips because we're only about 3 million away. And that won't take very long at all to collect. Speaking of which, make that we're only about 2 million away. We do have a reasonable amount of stuff in stock. So there's a good chance we'll get that money without ever having to go anywhere. Some construction remains to be done, mostly energy cell production. Hopefully, we have enough planned. Let's see, we're doubling the current size of our array. That's, yeah, hopefully enough. Looks like we'll have reasonable separation between the tallest, or lowest in this case, items in the top of the solar array, just in case we do have to expand it farther out. I highly doubt we'll expand it much more. If it turns out we start needing a lot more power, then it'll make more sense to build a solar station somewhere else. Actually, that's a good thing I should probably check up on. Do we know of any place that has... Okay. Bespin, right away, 200% sunlight. Terminus also has 200% sunlight. Sunlight's way more variable in this mod than in vanilla. I don't see anything in this little cluster that has more than 200% though. I wonder what Tatooine has. Oh, let's see, that's down here, isn't it? 400% sunlight, okay. And there's a solar power plant right there. That thing probably makes big money.
Requesting permission to dock. Docking permission granted.
I'm trying to figure out if there's any place that has more than that is closer to us. Doesn't really look like it. So it looks like we'll probably end up, unless I completely move my industrial center, it looks like we'll probably build a solar array in Bespin. we're definitely going to have to buy oh, we're going to have to buy freighters if we do that, but that's not a big deal. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything much over 200%. And even at that, a lot of things is less. Kuwat's 250. That's probably the second best place we found so far. Aside from Tatooine. Okay. Lots of 40s and 70s and... wonder if the AI is smart enough to take advantage of that properly. There's a 350. Okay. That's way away from where we're at, though. 300% here in this system. And there's a possible player HQ that's protected by Black Sun pirates there. Okay. That might be a future industrial center if I can arrange. Actually, are there any resources known nearby? Kind of. Maybe. A little bit. Alright, well, we're not doing anything over there right now. But for now, it looks like Bespin is indeed our best choice for solar power at 200%. Also, we could probably put in a Tabanna gas mine at some point. Okay. We'll just drain the station account again, and that gets us to 40.2, which I'm not sure exactly how much we need. But this should be somewhat close. Let's see, the gate's right over this way somewhere.
Requesting permission.
Hello, Mendit Man.
Docking permission.
No, mushroom juice. What? I thought the gate was over this way. Don't see it.
Jump beacon. Anot.
Ah, right there it is. Oh. Emptying out mushroom juice at the base of the tree and scum? No, we're not playing scum tonight. I don't know when I'm going to get to play scum next. This is a problem. I was planning to play a whole bunch of it, and now scheduling is turning out that that might not be possible. Because...
Jump completed. Anot.
on Tuesday, Dwarf Fortress releases on Steam. And that is a much stronger time commitment than Scum is, as in, I want to play that much more than I want to play Scum. So, today we're doing X4, because I really want to get some X4 played. And then tomorrow and the next day are Terraria, because that's the current weekend game. I'm not sure what I'm doing on Monday. But Tuesday, Wednesday, and probably Thursday, and maybe Friday and Saturday and so on, are definitely going to be Dwarf Fortress. So alas, poor Scum. It's being abandoned.
Hello there.
It's actually probably a good thing that Wasted got disillusioned so quickly. Otherwise, I would have a real schedule crunch on my hands. Dwarf Fortress is moddable. I'm not sure about the Steam version. I assume it is, considering that they were working on Steam Workshop support. I assume that's going to launch along with the rest of everything. But it was definitely was moddable, because I put, hundreds if not thousands of hours into modding that game once upon a time.
Hello. Split wish you fortune.
What? Yeah, Dwarf Fortress. Oh, I'm not sure how this how it's gonna work out for the Steam version, but for the normal version, it was very moddable because you didn't even need to have any art skills.
Hello.
Where is my
Split
option
wish you
to
fortune.
buy stuff? What? You're the manager. Correct? Of course, one problem is that mods didn't merge very well. Oh, I went to manager's office and representative's office. I'm an idiot. I want the representative, not the manager. Duh. Okay. There we go.
It's an honor to see
Hello,
you
faction
here.
representative. I would like to buy a blueprint for a production module, specifically for thingy modules, modular thingies. Something, there you go, module prefabs. 40.7, I have 40.2. Dang it.
Good luck out there.
Okay, did you make a little bit of money? Yeah, let me drain that. That gives us 40.6. We'll drain some of this as well. Actually, let's give him just a little bit more. Okay, there we go. We should be able to still buy our thing.
It's an honor to see you here.
I would like to buy a blueprint. Module, production. Module prefab. Boom. Confirm.
Good luck out there.
All right. Now we need 4 of these on this thing. Problem is, where am I going to put them exactly? But anyway, back in days of yore, I used to develop a tool called Rubble, whose intended purpose was to allow merging Dwarf Fortress mods and kind of managing mods. I highly doubt anybody still uses it. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and attach these right onto the sides of... This is probably a bit short-sighted. But screw it. No, wait, that's a terrible idea. I have 4 of these to attach, and no matter how I go about attaching these, it's going to look wonky. Okay, forget that then. Do I want to add a second? Okay, let's see. 1, 2. Remove you. Put in a cross module and a vertical O1. And that should fill it up quite nicely. And then we do a base O1 to get that boosted out. And then we can add a second station. Bit here. Yeah, I think this is the way to go. Okay, and then we'll add a base 01. I think that'll be the right size. Anyway. Rubble was basically every modding tool that I wanted and could imagine adding packed together into one single fairly integrated package and shipped with a whole load of content. Because basically all my mods use the system, and so I just shipped all my mods together with the tool. I had some pretty cool mods once upon a time. Okay. So we'll add a second station spine. That one's a little close. You know what? Let's offset the station spine slightly. So that they're not exactly over top of each other. That'll help it work out a little bit, I think. We're not going to do a full spine, but some of a spine. Why your favorite moddable games that tend to have more active communities and longevity? Yeah. And also, if you don't like something, you can just go change it, which is pretty cool. Okay, I think I'm happy with this. How much is this going to cost me? 51 million. Okay, we're going to be sinking money into this for a while. However, it's all done but the building. Anyway, I've had this little rant before, I'm pretty sure, about how I hate mods that do too much. Because invariably some awesome feature is packaged together with a feature that sucks and you can't pick and choose. You have to take the whole package. Unless they graciously allow you to do some configuration stuff. And mods almost always do too much. But anyway. And in Dwarf Fortress in particular, mods did too much because you can only load one mod at a time. Because mods replaced all the game's files. And I'm facing the wrong way. Because I exited the wrong way out of the... there we go. Anyway. Hopefully with Steam Workshop support that has improved some, but I'm not going to hold my breath. But basically to mod Dwarf Fortress, you replace the game's files with a new set of files. Because some things had to be registered in the civilization files. I think they were called entities or something like that. I don't remember exactly. It's been a long time since I touched Dwarf Fortress modding. But anyway, so since some things had to be registered, that meant everybody had to modify that file. And there was no good way to just merge things together. Although, I think I saw something to do with the base game allowing that, or going to be allowing that in the future. You know, providing some way to merge stuff into existing entities. But anyway. It wasn't, and as far as I know, still isn't, but maybe in the near future, a possibility at the time. So, if I wanted to modify the entity file more than once, you would have to either do a bunch of hand editing to get two mods to work together, or you just couldn't. And since most people aren't particularly technically savvy, and they aren't up to trying to figure out what mod changed and how to integrate it into a raw file to make it work together, it wasn't really possible to install more than one mod at a time. Well, Rubble was explicitly intended to fix that. Basically, it was just a templating system for RAWs. Raw files being what the mod files were called for, what data files were called for Dwarf Fortress. Because basically it started as a templating language. It ended up as a lot more than that, but... Matter of fact, the original templating language wasn't even something I wrote. It was something somebody else designed and implemented in Perl, I think? Yeah, it was implemented in Perl using regular expressions. And I was like, oh, hell no. And I rewrote it. That was actually why it was called Rubble, because the original tool was called Blast. For... Oh, what did it stand for originally? I don't remember. I think it was an acronym that stood for something, but... Anyway. You hate Perl and regular expressions? I like regular expressions. However, I almost never use them. Because, while I know how to use a regular expression, they're also way slower than doing it the right way. So they're the kind of thing that you use every day if you are crafting some complicated search and replace thing for your editor. But if you're using them in actual production code, you better have a darn good reason. That's my view on it anyway. I know a lot of people don't share that view, but those people are writing slow code, so... Anyway. I think the coolest thing that I ever wrote for Rubble was an automated tool for merging and validating raw files. Unfortunately, it's another one of those things that somebody else did, and I looked at it and went, wow, that's awesome. But I can do that better, and stole their syntax wholesale for writing the rules files, and then I just wrote a set of rules that matched the entire set of raws. I just had a really strong desire to bring up a text editor and show this thing off, but I'm not going to do it. Anyway, we're here to play space games, not talk about past coding triumphs. Although I will still talk about past coding triumphs, I just won't actually bring up an editor and show them off. Well, basically this system was a rule-based matching engine. And the guy who originally made it, he just envisioned it as a system, or from what I can tell anyway, he envisioned it as a system for just merging two sets of raws together. You have a set of raws A, a set of raws B, and then a set of rules to determine how they're merged. Or matched, as the case may be. Because the system could do both. But anyway, I took it and developed a full set of rules that matched every single valid tag in the game. So you could run a set of raws through it, and if the raws didn't match the rules, you knew there was a mistake. Something was wrong. Or you could take just two sets of raws and match them with the default rules and merge them together. Merge them cleanly into each other. Obviously, if you use the default rules, it was a rather simple merge. You would just grab everything in the one and stick it into the other. but in a semi-intelligent way. If you wrote your own rules, you could control what was merged from one to the other, and then that could get pretty complicated. The main thing I used the engine for was to validate files to make sure that none of the mods had installed wrong or anything like that. And that was super useful because you could just run it through the rule system. You could basically run the output through the rule system before you wrote it out. And if there were any failures, then you could report that to the user and they would know that they had to screwed up install before they ever got to the point of trying to run the game. And of course, it was incredibly useful for me when debugging because I could run stuff through the rule system and it would tell me when things were going wrong. I think that was called BAM. Buttons Automated Mod Merger. Which, it could automatically merge mods. But after I was done massaging his syntax and improving it and writing a new engine for it and all that, it was a little bit more powerful than the original. Oh well. Not many people use Rubble. Even when I was still maintaining it. I'm pretty sure nobody uses it anymore, but even back then, not many people really understood what it could do for them. As far as modders went. They couldn't figure out why they'd want a tool to do half the things that my thing did. There was one guy, he just had a system that had just loads of duplication. The same thing defined over and over and over again with tiny tweaks. And so I was like, look, dude, I can rewrite your whole mod to be this tiny little thing. And if you use this tool, you can save yourself so much work. And he was like, he was kind of skeptical, but I grabbed a hold of the code and ran it through. Turned everything, templated the heck out of it, got it all scrunched down to nice, easy to read code. And he was, I think, one of the very few people to actually use Rubble for modding after that. But I wasn't up to try to convert everybody and their brother's mods because, I mean, I didn't have time for it, but once you rub somebody's nose in it and like, look, tools, it makes your life easier, they would actually switch over, I guess, sometimes. Oh well. Your best project at work was making Clonezilla do something the devs could not be done. Super simple, but not something code dev would do. You know, I think everybody who does anything related to computers should know at least a little tiny bit of computer programming. Not necessarily a lot, just like a scripting language or something. So that they can, if you run into something repetitive you do all the time or whatever, you can just grab whatever your process is and write a script to do it and save yourself a bunch of time. Write a few little short helper tools or whatever. That's probably the most valuable thing that a non-programmer...
Docking granted. Docking aborted.
Probably the most valuable thing that somebody who doesn't do programming as a primary job can do with programming is just to know a scripting language to help out with their own work. Know about writing code, syntax, and basic scripting stuff. I'm terrible at designing the logic of a program. Well, designing the logic of a program is the kind of thing you just learn over time as you do more of it.
Requesting permission to dock. Docking permission granted.
A lot of it is just changing the way you think. And if you can't change the way you think to match it better, you're never going to be a very good programmer. And unfortunately, there are a lot of very not good programmers who just never learned how to think properly. You were taught that if you had time to do it twice, you have time to automate it? Yeah.
Please hold. We will be scanning your cargo hold.
If you deal with any kind of Unix or Linux system at all, knowing at least some shell scripting is going to be tremendously valuable. Shell scripting is incredibly janky and it's annoying pain in the butt to work with, but it works everywhere. Except Windows. Who cares about Windows? And it is, well, actually it works on Windows now too if you use WSL. But anyway, it works everywhere and it, well, it works. Man, are some shell scripts ugly. Also, if you do something that requires, for example, a lot of command switches to be set exactly right, having a shell script of it is good documentation. For example, I almost always write a shell script for launching Docker containers. It's not that I can't launch the Docker container without the shell
Docking
script.
granted.
It's just that it makes it easy to remember exactly what ports I had mapped to where and what
Docking aborted.
what the bind amounts were and all that stuff. On Windows, usually I reach for PowerShell because PowerShell is actually pretty decent. I wish it was less of a shell language and more of a language sometimes, because it makes some sacrifices that it doesn't really have to make to try to make it more shell-like. But it's usually fairly logically consistent and it works fairly well. Computers are supposed to make work easier. Use them for that to make life better. Yeah. You know, I don't know how many people I've run into who, when presented with something computer related that was hard or annoying, just rolled with it. It never even crossed their mind to look for an easier way. Under some mistaken belief that, well, computers are just very hard and complicated. And so if the computer is being hard and complicated, well, that's just how it is, right? It never even crossed their mind to ask, like, try to look for a better way or ask somebody if there is a better way, or they just roll with whatever the first thing they come across is because, well, like I said, in their mind, computers are hard and complicated and they never really got it any other way, I guess. That kind of thought process just feeds on itself then. Because the more they think computers are hard and complicated, and the less they're inclined to try to do anything about it, well, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and you never ever get them out of that rut. First thought is that there must be a better way and look for it until you find it. Ancestors are known for being unreasonably stubborn. That's not a bad thing. It's far, far, far better than being that guy who does some weird jump between a weird dance between QuickBooks and a spreadsheet and back and then back again, because that's how he gets the data to come out just the way he wants it to be.
Docking permission granted.
while ever trying to figure out if he has to actually do it that way to get it that way or not. It reminds me of a story I read on Daily WTF years ago. Daily WTF is an excellent site, by the way. Every day, except on weekends, they have some kind of, usually programmery, but tech-related WTF type story. Supposed to be teaching experiences. As in, don't do this, please. But anyway, there was the story about, I don't remember how it went exactly, but basically it was along the lines of these people wanted to get a wood border around a poster. So they designed the poster on their computer. They printed the poster out. They laid it on a table. And they took a picture of the poster on the table. That way you get the wooden table border. Then they printed that photo out. They printed the photo they took out, because that's how you get print stuff off your camera, right? You print it. And then they scanned the photo in and printed the scanned photo again. Because of course, that's how you get it, right? It's like, what? None of that made any sense. It's like, okay. It was a kind of a cautionary tale on, well, exactly, doing it that way because that's how they learned how to do it. And they never bothered to try to connect the different blocks in their mind to figure out if there was a better sequence. You're glad that wasn't supposed to make sense because you're confused as hell? I was kind of confused as hell when I read it too, but I mean, obviously it made a little bit more sense as written because I'm probably forgetting a detail or two in there, but still, it was like completely nonsensical. There was at least one extra print it out and then scan it back in steps in there. Just to, well, that's how you get images off the camera, right? You print them. And then, oh, I have this image now and I want to get it back into the computer. Okay, I scan it. They never connected the dot between, oh, image on camera, image go into computer. Nope. Image goes from camera to printer, of course. And of course, since they printed it out as a photo, I did miss saying this. When they printed it out, they of course printed it out as, photo size because it came from the camera. And then they wanted to have it poster, like larger full sheet of paper size. So that's why they scanned it in and then printed it again. But still, it's like, that's not how you resize something. The whole thing was just crazy. None of it made any sense whatsoever, but each step, each little step in isolation made sense. But when you looked at the goal they were actually trying to accomplish, none of it made sense. It's not how you resize something. Well, it's clearly how they resize something. But, just... Sometimes you need to stop and think about the goal you're trying to accomplish, I guess. Are the things I'm doing really going to get me where I want to go in the best way? Oh well, we've gotten way off topic. And it has been 40 minutes of me just flying around randomly talking about bullshit. We should probably get something useful accomplished. Let's see how the money making is going on here. I did notice they were starting to work on the energy cells. So that's good. Because we really need those. Okay. Pull most of the money out of the station account. Now let's turn around and immediately put it back into the construction account. Okay. So we should already have enough in stock to do the energy cells construction. But then building the second layer and the module prefabs, that's going to be exceedingly expensive. Okay. So we are consuming exactly as many energy cells as we're producing pretty much, but that's because a lot of stuff is shut off. Or not shut off per se, but just not running properly. Okay, let's go through and make sure all of these are set to not buy. We're going to have to check. Well, I could set up buy offers already and then convert them into please don't buy offers, if that makes any sense. But I probably don't want to do that just yet. Okay, here we have automatic buy. Restriction. Never buy. I think that's the restriction I've been using for these. Yeah, never buy. Restriction, never buy. Okay, silicon wafer for some reason didn't have a never buy restriction on it. And we have some idiot trying to come in and sell us. Okay, so we're going to cancel that trade. That's where you lost them? Have you thought? Oh. Yeah. Yeah. That is indeed a problem with some people. Oh well. Okay, so these are all set up properly. Yeah. Good.
Halt. We will be scanning your cargo hold. I have nothing to hide. Smartly, go about your business.
No matter how much you complain about those people, wish you're still doing that job. Very satisfying. He's good at it. You know, I don't really think that I actually miss any of my past jobs that much. All of them, or not all of them, but most of them were pretty okay as far as jobs went. But every single time I got a different job, I traded up. Ended up with a better job. And I don't really miss any of them. Occasionally I'll miss certain small aspects of one, but yeah. So far, my current job is definitely the one I like the best. Okay, but now that we have bought that blueprint, we should probably go do something out in the world. Okay, so last time we were exploring in Imperial space. We didn't get it fully explored by any stretch of the imagination. But we did discover a lot of gates. Including a few in space that I had previously thought was already explored. Oops. Where did I even leave off exploring? Okay, like that is a dead end. Actually, I should zoom in farther so I can see the... Here. Let's search for unknown object. Then we can zoom out and see. Okay, this is showing unknown station as well, which is unfortunate.
Requesting permission.
Let's just search for object.
Docking permission granted.
Damn it. It's still showing unknown station. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just search for unknown then, because it won't make a difference. Let's hunt around and see if we missed any gates. Apparently the answer to that is no. Also, my mouse is blinking at me. I probably should have plugged it in earlier today. It wants to be fed. Actually, this is a really useful view. Well, let me know if I missed anything. For some reason, this is also highlighting jump beacons, which is pretty useful, because I can zoom out and see everything. Okay, those are mines. We don't care about those. That's mines as well. Ugh. More mines. More mines. Unknown station. Unknown station. There's an unknown jump gate. But that's in Mandalorian territory. Not really care about them at the moment. Unknown station. Okay. I don't think there's any or many unknown gates. Definitely make sure though. There's probably some systems that I didn't explore at all. There's a gate. Where would that even lead? You know what? Let's go up there and find out. There's only one way to find out where it goes, and that is to go find out. Anyway. Yeah. We'll probably play more of this on Monday, but then Tuesday we get to commit dwarf crimes. I'd like to see if the old Seesaw of Armok still works. The Seesaw of Armok was a really cool device
Jump completed. Matal.
that exploits a detail of the way minecart physics works in Dwarf Fortress. Or worked, at least. Basically, if a minecart was dropped onto a ramp, it would roll down the ramp. Of course, makes sense, right? Well, if a minecart was sitting on a ramp, it would also roll down the ramp. Okay, that makes sense as well. If a minecart rolled down a ramp, it would pick up enough speed that, in theory anyway, it could roll up another ramp. Which kind of makes a little less sense, but if a minecart is rolling down a ramp and hits something, it's still sitting on the ramp, and therefore will continue to roll down the ramp after it, you know, is stopped from hitting something. It'll just start rolling again because it's still on the ramp. If you have two ramps facing each other, the minecart will oscillate back and forth between those two ramps, picking up considerable momentum as it goes. And if anything is dumb enough to step into that area, it will get flattened with extreme prejudice. And then get flattened again by the minecart coming back the other direction. And so on. So, if somebody happened to build a corridor, a 2-wide corridor with basically a dish shape, you know, ramps going up and down, and
Jump
happened
completed.
to, for example,
Durango.
lead elves or goblins down it, while the dwarves are all safely locked up so they couldn't get to it, it led to a very squishy good time, shall we say. Of course, building such a thing took quite a bit of engineering. It wasn't just something you could crank out in a couple days. Because not only did you need to have the ramps in place, but you need to have a mechanism to get the minecart in and out of there. Because if you weren't careful, a minecart could get loose in the system, and your dwarves would, well, they were just as squishy as anything else. Also, it wouldn't work if
Jump
creatures were too
completed.
large,
Mortal.
because then they could actually completely stop the minecarts eventually sometimes. And some creatures were tough enough that they could drag themselves through those passage without getting completely killed. And if a minecart was stopped in the system, you had better make sure a dwarf couldn't reach it, or the dwarf would go, "Oh, there's a minecart stopped. I should go drag that off to a stockpile." And off they go. Into the middle of the thing. Dwarves aren't very smart. But anyway. This is going to be so much fun, I can't wait.
Not impressed. Sorry.
And I haven't played a proper dwarf fort for a very long time. I've played Saurian forts and gnome forts and even a human fort or two. But it's been a long time since I played vanilla Dwarf Fortress without any mods.
Jump completed. Syria.
It's been a long time since I played modded Dwarf Fortress too, but... well, yeah. Anyway. Oh! Bog site! Welcome here. Welcome, raiders. Arrived just in time to just barely miss the Dwarf Fortress
Jump
talk.
completed. Anash.
Anyway, hello, welcome here. Being evil pirates again. Still. Or wait, I forgot, it's not pirates, it's corporate raiders. There we go. Sounds more dignified that way. Quite excited to tackle aquifers again? Oh, I definitely am. I'm definitely going to settle on a place for my first fort that has aquifer. Preferably a deep one. Good old double slip method. See if I can remember how to do it. Space Age Robin Hood. It's been so long since I played Dwarf Fortress.
Jump completed. Endor.
Okay. Do I know where I'm going from here? Okay. I see how this is. Wait, this is one of those systems that I... Okay. We have to do a ping here. Apparently I never actually did a sensor scan in this system. Oops. Tried to scale it up and failed miserably. The double slip method? Or are you talking about,
Unknown object.
Okay, let's go over this way and see if this is where they want us to go. Resulting in a lot of very wet dwarves. Yeah, the double slip method, if you wanted to scale that up, you would basically have to convert it over to a pumped method. And there are a couple of pumped methods that can sink some pretty large holes. But they're all, or not, I shouldn't say pumped, like actual powered windmills on the surface and all that methods. Because double slip really only works because you only need one pump going at a time. Once you start getting bigger, you need more than one pump running at the same time. And then you quite quickly run into the fact that
Jump completed. Ask Hikori.
if you're trying to okay, this is another one that I haven't explored yet. You quite quickly run into the problem that you your dwarves are too busy to run on the pump constantly, and when one of them stops working, everything falls apart. Okay,
Unknown object.
that's probably our target right there. Is that red lights? Or is that just because of the... It's probably just reflection. Yeah, it's just reflection. Order cancellations? Yeah, that is... Definitely an awful lot of hitting the unsuspend order over and over again. Why the powered methods are generally a lot faster and more reliable once you have everything built. They take longer to build though.
Jump completed. Bakura.
What makes the double slip method so good is its simplicity. It's low cost. And its relative speed. Sure, it only punches, what? Is it a 2x2 hole, I think it is? I think it's a 2x2 hole. But it does it quickly and without a whole lot of fuss. I mean, obviously, it's a lot of fuss, but it's less fuss than trying to build the big complicated edifice you would need to, say, punch a 4x4 hole. Is that a TIE fighter I'm flying? Yes, yes it is. I am playing the...
Unknown object.
oh, what is this mod called again? Star Wars Interworlds? Something like that. It's a Star Wars Total Conversion. So, the map is all unique. The ships are all unique. You know, all Star Wars, all replaced. Some of the economy has changed. Some stuff is renamed to be more Star Warsy. I think some of the exact ratios and stuff might be changed a little bit too. Ships and stations are produced using different materials. Like there's a specific material that is used only for building stations. Did an awesome job with it. Yeah, this mod's really well done. It's got your standard, it's a mod wrinkles, but they're
Jump completed. Achto.
they're less pronounced than you might expect, and they are definitely definitely not that big of a deal most of the time. A lot of custom station modules and stuff for AI stations. I don't know if any of them are available for the player to use too, or I haven't really looked to find out. But there's some pretty cool, unique station modules.
Unknown object.
Star Wars Squadrons was free on Epic a little while ago, so I played it like, was that last week or the week before last? I think it might have been last week. Anyway. And a couple of the stations from that game I recognized as stations that I had flown around in this mod. Like, not exactly, but the basic layout. Some of the custom station modules from this are just X4ified versions of stuff that was in there. Oh. That is the jump beacon we were coming out here to explore. Well, well, well. Okay. Where do I want to go from here then?
Jump beacon. Get up.
Let's go this way.
Jakku.
Yeah. Anyway. Oh, thank you very much for the follow, Soup Stalker. Sup Stalker? Sup Stalker sound probably is more accurate. Anyway, greatly appreciated. Basically, it looked like either they... I doubt they took the models from the game. But even if they did, they made a bunch of customizations to them to, like, put docking platforms on, make it so you can walk around them, some stuff like that. Basically make them into X4 station pieces.
Completed. Jakku.
I suspect they probably made them either mostly from scratch or completely from scratch. Okay. So we came out here so that I would have a neutral system to park in for a little bit while I could look at the map. Realistically, we might end up having an Imperial patrol on our asses soon, but hopefully not. Because I could really use a moment to look at the map and try to figure out what I haven't properly explored yet. Now I am exploring currently hostile, although hopefully not forever, territory. So I'm not looking to identify all these stations, for example. I'm more looking to identify the gates and where they link. Okay, this place was never explored. So let's go ahead and set guidance. Actually, let's set guidance there. Gonna have to give this mod a try sometime. That's pretty good. There are a few things that I miss about vanilla that this mod doesn't really have. For example, it doesn't really have a Xenon equivalent. So, while
Jump completed. Rakata Prime.
I am enemies with various factions who would happily go blow my stuff up, there's nobody who's just hostile with everybody that I can just kind of easily, and they're everywhere. So, I've managed to find some safe places where nobody really tries to bother me. Which, I guess you probably could find something like that in X4 as well, but it seems like no matter where you go, eventually some Xenon are going to show up. There are the Vong, but they're more of a CAC type faction. They just spring up randomly and try to wreck your stuff, but they don't bring any like heavy ships or anything.
You call yourself a pilot?
That's probably my biggest complaint, is that I missed the Xenon.
Jump completed. Gita.
But to make up for not having the Xenon, you have something that is arguably better, and that is factions who are distinctly at war and remain that way at all times without you having to prod them into being at war. Which I guess Vanilla kind of sort of had that, but the web of faction likes and dislikes is much more intricate here than it is in Vanilla. Or at least it feels that way to me.
Jump completed. Christie.
But anyway, it's a pretty cool mod. I would give it a solid 9.5 out of 10. After all, nothing is perfect. And it is really fun to zip around in various Star Wars ships. I wish there were more detailed reports about actual wars happening and who lost what. That would be cool. It'd definitely be cool. One thing this mod changes that is kind of interesting is that it's much harder to become friends with a faction. It's still not hard, but it's harder. So instead of just hanging around their station shooting criminals for a while and all of a sudden you're best friends, you actually have to do a certain amount of trading in their space. You have to own a station worth over a certain amount in their space. So you actually have to do things
Jump
with and
completed.
for the faction
Virgo.
before you can be actual friends with them. Also, there are lots of corporate miner factions around that own shipyards and stuff like that. They'll happily sell you ships that otherwise you'd only get from the main factions. But
Get off my radar.
before they're willing to sell you ships, you don't actually have to be friends with them. So you don't have to go through a whole bunch of stuff to get, you don't have to be friendly with, you just have to not be hostile to them. Instead, you have to buy a license. So you pay them some millions, and they give you permission to buy, you know, better quality gear from them, which is pretty cool. So if, for example, I wanted to buy an Imperial Star Destroyer from Quat Drive Yards,
Jump completed.
I just give them,
Elam.
what is it for a capital ship license? Like, I don't remember what it is. I had to pay them a bunch of millions to buy a capital ship purchase license from them. And then I have access to their capital ship catalog and can pick out whatever I want. Pretty cool. There's a few, like, top-end ships that they won't sell. And that I can only get directly from the Imperials or whatever. But if I want most Imperial gear, I can get it from them or from the Sinar Ship Systems shipyard. Rebellion showing up to war with a large Star Destroyer fleet. If you wanted to, you would have to buy them all from Quat Drive Yard. But it would be completely plausible. Matter of fact, Quat Drive Yard is in currently New Republic space. The timeline for this game
Jump
is really...
completed. Arnesis.
It doesn't have one. Let's put it that way. I should do this mod, not this game. It really doesn't have one. There are Imperials. There's some kind of Imperial remnant. There's the New Republic. There are... there's a faction that uses drone fighters and stuff. Drone ships. Basically like CIS type stuff. There's factions that use Clone War era clone gear. ARC 170s and... basically it's got everything. From every era. There's a faction somewhere that uses it. Which is pretty cool. They don't even try to pretend they're any particular era. It's just, let's get all the cool stuff in here and fight. I do want to try to buy a drone fighter and see if you can actually pilot those. And if so, how do they handle the cockpit? Because I'm really kind of curious.
Jump completed. Celesta. Bria Minor.
Okay, fine. Be that way.
Empty space.
So this is our destination. We're just going out here to scan. The capital ships are all pretty well done. There are some things that you can land on, but you can't get out and walk around. I've only encountered like 2 of those so far. But to counter that, they give you the first level of teleport at the start of the game. So you can teleport aboard whatever you have docked with, even if it doesn't have proper...
Unknown object.
even if it doesn't have proper docking set up yet. Most things you can get out and walk around. Cockpits are all unique. Or at least appropriate for the type. It's like you got a nice little TIE fighter cockpit here aboard our TIE Defender. I'm not sure if the base TIE Fighter has a subtly different cockpit or if it has the same one or what. I actually haven't bought one to find out. But every ship I've been in so far has had a unique cockpit. And not like tweaked vanilla cockpits or anything like that. An actual made for that ship cockpit. So somebody put a ton of work into this mod. Or probably a lot of somebody's.
Jump completed.
Okay.
Ringo Moon.
I wouldn't be surprised if this was a dead end. But I guess we'll find out. Hello, Colo. Welcome here. Okay. Go ahead and drop a scan. Or two. If we don't see any returns, this is probably a dead end. I suspect this is a dead end because it's
Jump
usually
beacon.
how
Celesta.
stuff works out. Paying Search Warrior online. I need to try a Mech Warrior game sometime. Someday. When I'm not snowed under with other games I need to play. You're streaming? Okay. Somebody's trying to capture this place. BLS. That would be Black Sun. Pirate scum. We're currently not enemies with Black Sun. I would like to keep it that way for now. Although, if I run into Black Sun attacking somebody who I want to be friends with,
Completed. Celesta.
I might help them out. Ah, stop overcorrecting, you idiot. There we go. Much better. Yeah, the main thing the teleport is good for, okay, for example, the game start I picked, which probably was a mistake in hindsight, because, well, I don't know, it was a good start for some reasons, and unfortunately it made me enemies with both of the Imperial factions, as well as factions I don't mind being an enemy with. Backstory was kind of like you're a rogue Imperial remnant, and everybody hates you, except the minor factions.
Jump completed. Arnesis.
This is the super bright place that I didn't like. I remember this place now. Did I ever ping this place? I don't think I did. Let's go there now.
Jump beacon. Estandia.
My eyes. Whoever decided to make this bright, it's a crime. But anyway, to start, I was given a 546 cruiser, which is basically a beefed up version of the Imperial cruiser. I was given 6 TIE interceptors with basic loadouts, and a TIE Defender with a pretty reasonable loadout, although not maxed out. So I had a small fleet at my disposal
Jump
right away,
completed. Estandia.
which is pretty cool. Actually pretty capable little fleet. That 546 cruiser is capable of punching quite a bit above its weight. In theory, anyway. I haven't had to use it that way yet, but hopefully I won't have to for a while either. But anyway, the 546 cruiser can dock fighters, but the dock isn't fully functional, as in you can't walk around. So it's pretty important if I actually want to get aboard my ship that I have a teleport ability. Because I would like to occasionally control that ship directly. It's kind of interesting. Most of the capital ships in this do not have direct fire weapons of any kind. They all have just turrets. Which makes perfect sense in the context of Star Wars. It's not like Imperial Star Destroyers were known for having giant forward-mounted lasers. But there are some capital ships that do have forward-mount lasers. The, oh, what are they called again? Banking Clan Cruisers is what they are, but I don't remember what they're called. Those things have some fairly substantial looking forward-mounted lasers. I think they're forward-mounted lasers. They're forward-mounted somethings anyway. There's a couple other similar beasts, which is pretty cool. Do I use OBS? Yes, I do. As far as I can tell, it's the best available software for the purpose.
Jump completed.
Just the Death Star. It has the Terran XL battleship main weapon. Alas, I don't think you can build a Death Star. It'd be awesome if you could, though. Instead of terraforming projects, they have Death Star construction projects. Actually, I kind of doubt that. I kind of doubt they do that. It'd be awesome though if they did. Know about new feature to select audio sources from specific. I mostly don't handle my audio through OBS directly. So I do control some audio through OBS, but not most of it. Okay. No gates. There's a gate.
Unknown object.
Basically, the only audio I control through OBS is the overlays and that kind of stuff. And for those, you have to set a setting to have OBS control the audio, and then it works. But everything else I pass in externally through virtual audio cables from Voicemeeter. You can have someone in the background on your screen, stream won't hear that. Yeah, I'm sure you can do that through OBS, but I do that through Voicemeeter. For example, my web browser goes to a different Voicemeeter input, different virtual cable than normal desktop audio does. So I can do whatever the heck I want in my web browser, and you guys will never know.
Yaga Minor.
Okay, where are we at? We are here in a place that I have, in theory, already pinged. I probably better ping this again, just in case. Yeah. Station, 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 another station, station, other differenter station, more station. Alright, so there's no other gates in here. Okay. So, where do we go from here? Oh, Let's go up to Bastion.
Jump beacon. Neonalist.
I want to see where that goes. If I remember correctly, admittedly, this is a long time since I read any EU books, but I think Bastion was the Imperial capital at some point.
You're done for.
Jump completed. Neonalist.
I think. Anyway. I really, really wish, completely change the topic, back to audio. I wish Windows supported Pipewire. Because I was messing around with Pipewire some
Beacon. Bascan.
on my work machine. And getting really complicated, very detailed streamer audio setup, as in I have full control or very little tiny detail of the whole system's audio, was super easy. And then routing some of it through
Jump
effects
completed.
pipelines.
Bascan.
Do fun stuff like strip
Defense
out
platform.
noise gate, put noise gates on, all that kind of stuff. That's pretty easy to set up. All the kind of stuff you want to do, you're getting your mic massaged up just right. Way easier than it is on Windows. And then you have these awesome tools that display all the relationships graphically. You can create as many virtual devices as you want, just a couple lines of text in a file somewhere. With,
Jump
once again,
completed. Bastion.
all the detail you could ever want, and exactly how they're configured, and exactly what inputs and outputs they have, and yeah. Linux audio has come a long ways.
You're gonna die.
No, it won't. Yeah, it's a pretty big shipyard. Just saying. Unfortunately, it's a shipyard that doesn't like me. But, well, you can't have everything in life.
You're pathetic.
Okay, we're looking for more gates. I kind of doubt there are any more gates here,
Jump beacon. Bascan.
but just in case. There we go. Well, Pipewire is not just an application. It is, well, it isn't an application really. It's the whole audio routing system.
Jump completed. Bascan.
Linux audio is kind of interesting. Warning, warning, warning. You have triggered Milo lecture mode. Warning. Let's see. Try to find someplace else to explore before I get too busy here. I think we've explored most, if not all, of Imperial space. There's no way. Okay. Also, currently we're flying off to who knows where. Okay. Did I explore all this stuff? I think I did. Okay, let's look for dead end systems. Those were explored. That was explored. Bastion was just explored. That was explored earlier. That's not a dead end. Okay, that's where we just came in from. Alright, let's go home then, I guess. What?
Autopilot.
Well, it's autopilot as far as you can. Most complex thing you did with OBS is figure out how to hear stream elements events like raids and follows, constantly missing those and not hearing. For some reason, mine don't play properly. They were for a little while, and now they don't. I need to figure out what the problem is. Supposedly, any sound that a alert makes is also supposed to play for me. But I don't know if alerts actually are making sound for you guys either. I need to go back in a VOD where I definitely got an alert and see what happened with that. It might be the alerts are just broken at the moment. Need to figure out what's going on. Hello, Bo. But anyway, before I got distracted by trying to figure out if there's anything left to explore, I was about to talk about Linux audio. Audio in Linux is kind of weird. There is, at the base, there's Advanced Linux Sound System, it's called. And that is the root of all modern Linux audio at this point. It's a very simple,
Jump completed.
you can play audio,
Minimized.
but that's about it kind of thing. It doesn't really do anything special. It just handles the actual interface between software and the audio, whatever audio hardware you have. It's part of the Linux kernel, basically baked right into it. Very fundamental, but also really low level and hard to work with. You think they broke for you as well? Looks like an update may have broke it. Alerts are such finicky beasts. Anyway, so obviously nobody wants to work with that because it's really low level and it's not very... If more than one application tries to talk to it at once, you can get
Jump
weird things
completed.
going on. And
Gaga minor.
it's not designed to let a bunch of people write to the audio devices simultaneously. So along came Pulse Audio, which handles the actual mechanics of letting people, you know, actually play sounds in a reasonable manner. The problem with Pulse Audio is that it sucks. It's not good. It works. It's better than everything that came before, but it's shit. Nowadays, it's finally been beaten its submission enough that it's mostly reliable shit, but I don't think anybody actually likes Pulse.
Jump
It's kind of like
completed.
X11 that way.
Ornamental.
Nobody really likes X11, but it's what we have, and replacements aren't quite there yet, so... And then there was Jack. Jack is cool. Unfortunately, Jack is also really finicky because it is designed very specifically for professional level audio. It is very, very built.
You don't stand a chance.
If you are doing pro level audio on Linux, Jack is the way. Even nowadays. But it's not very user friendly for just Joe Blow consumer. It's incredibly powerful, but it's not user friendly at all.
Jump completed. Orbit.
But Jack's pretty cool. Jack's awesome, and Jack still has a place It's just that that place is not on my computer. If I was doing pro level audio, I would be a great fan of Jack, I'm sure. It's got lots of good tools for it, and it's just pretty awesome. But nowadays we're getting something called Pipewire. And Pipewire is kind of a replacement for both Jack and Pulse Audio. Sort of. It's not quite suited as a replacement for Jack completely, but it is compatible with Jack in a way that applications that are designed to use Jack can work with Pipewire. That's mostly the main important thing there. It's good enough that you can use applications designed to use with Jack with Pipewire and it'll function. But it's not really a Jack replacement. But it is a Pulse Audio replacement. Full up. Just
Jump
no, don't use
completed.
Pulse. Use
Soren.
Pipewire. And Pipewire has some really awesome capabilities to just pipe audio straight from one application straight into another. No worrying about audio devices or any of that BS. You just, I want this thing's output to feed into that thing's input, and boom, you're done. Obviously, of course, it's not. Sounds like a Unix pipe? Kind of. But it's not, doesn't quite work the same way as a pipe. And it is for audio and video. That's another thing, also. A lot of people don't really think about this very much. But Pipewire can also pipe around video. As a matter of fact, wow, there was definitely a battle here. That was a lot of dead stuff.
Jump completed. Bill Rangy.
Pipewire also handles video. As a matter of fact, if you're using Wayland, I think Pipewire is the default method for screen capture on Wayland. Wayland being a way of basically drawing stuff to the screen. To be extremely simple. But like my webcam shows up as a video source in my Pipewire patch panel. Not that I actually use Pipewire to move the video around, but I could if I wanted to. Wayland's awesome. I long for the day when finally stable distros
Jump completed.
are all switched over to Pipewire and Wayland. Yeah. Good night, Fogsight. Thank you for raiding. Is Wayland still unfriendly with NVIDIA? Yeah. It's getting better, but
You're not much of a pilot, are you?
Wayland just isn't quite ready yet. It needs to work. NVIDIA still hates Linux? Yeah. It's getting better, but it's not there yet. Next time I get a graphics card, I'm probably gonna get an AMD card, honestly.
Get lost.
Ray tracing's cool, but I don't really need it. And the AMD
Jump
cards can do
completed.
ray tracing, just
Alrighty.
not as good. And I use a lot of Linux stuff for work on this PC, but you know, obviously I dual boot.
Autopilot disengaged.
So yeah, next time I rebuild, I'm gonna get an AMD card, I think, unless something major changes with NVIDIA.
Autopilot engaged.
I do like NVIDIA cards.
Get lost.
I've used NVIDIA cards for years, but I need Linux compatibility nowadays. And AMD offers that, and also AMD cards have become a lot better in the last couple generations. They're strong contenders now. Some years ago, AMD wasn't a strong contender, and it was much more of a, well, much less of a hard decision. I would still like it if NVIDIA would properly support Linux. I mean, it works fine on
Jump
Linux because
completed. Coruscant.
I use my card on Linux all the time, and it's fine. It's just not as good as AMD could be. And obviously Wayland, it doesn't really work that well there. I would like to use Wayland. Intel Arc, I think it could be a few generations before it's really useful. It's pretty sad story right now. Although apparently if you use DXVK, a lot of games that have trouble with Arc can get actually pretty decent performance. So I guess all that work people put into Linux gaming is paying off for Windows users now, finally.
You're in serious trouble.
Instead of, you know,
Jump completed. Irma.
if Intel isn't going to offer proper compatibility for older versions of DirectX, which by the way I support them in, they don't need to offer support for older versions of DirectX as long as there's compatibility layers available. But they should at least provide a good compatibility layer. And if their compatibility layer isn't better than DXVK, then they should just ship DXVK, damn it. Put some of their engineers to work on the project to help improve it,
You're dead now.
and just ship it with their thing. But they don't, so here we are. Oh well. Get all devs to use Vulkan? That would be the ideal. Obviously that won't fix old games, but
Jump completed.
Vulkan is the
Aurelia.
future for sure. It should be used a lot more than it is. DirectX just kind of needs to go die. Do they want me to take a different gate in here? Because I definitely know about this gate.
Auto
Don't you dare drop out of...
disengaged.
Okay. They wanted to drop me out of travel drive in a dangerous system. We are going to drop out of travel drive up here in a little bit. To do a quick little ping. But we're going to do it at high speed and never quite lose all of our speed. Thought Flash would never die, and hey look, no Flash. True. Whether that's a good thing or not is completely up to each individual's opinion, I guess.
Unknown object.
Personally, I don't really miss Flash. But then I was never really the kind of person who played a lot of Flash games as a kid either. As base graphics card, competing against NVIDIA for it, but like you said, waiting games, see what happens. Intel Arc, yeah. I think a couple generations and they'll get their feet under them and Intel will have a good graphics card. Now, keeping in mind,
Don't stand a chance.
I am not an Intel fan.
Jump completed.
I don't like Intel and I
Aurora.
never have for a variety of reasons I'm not even bothered trying to get into. I use AMD processors, not because I'm an AMD fan, but because I don't like Intel. But I do wish Intel luck with their graphics card division. I want them to be a nice solid second best. Oops.
Hello there.
Wrong button.
TIE Defender.
Get out of my seat. Other trigger. There we go. Okay.
Unknown
Well, there's one
object.
gate. There might be another gate over here. I'm not sure which gate it wants me to take. Probably this one, but we'll see. Now, Flash is still available, but not in the way it used to be so much.
Might as well just eject.
There's a pretty cool little project. Oh, what was it called again? I don't remember what it's called. But there's a project that helps you install all the tools you need to run old Flash games. And then it runs a local web proxy. So you can play those old games just like you were still back in the early 2000s. Or whatever.
Jump completed. Then on.
And most of the old Flash games that were on various game sites and whatever are archived and available. You just pick the ones you want, it'll install them, and then you can play them, and it'll install the tools you need to play each individual game. And I've never tried it because, like I said, I'm not particularly nostalgic for Flash games. But for anybody whose childhood involved playing a lot of Flash games at school, I don't remember what the thing's called. My brain keeps saying it was something front, but I don't think that's right. Anyway. It sucked for so long when Nvidia was the only game in town. That's coming around to bite them now. Kind of.
Jump completed. Chardon.
It does help a lot that AMD has good performance and much cheaper price. AMD has always had so much trouble with software, though.
Some excuse for a pilot, you are.
Every time AMD tries to write software, it's kind of crap. I wish they were better at it, but oh well. That mostly extends to drivers as well. NVIDIA drivers are always better than AMD's, pretty much. Oh well.
Jump completed. Pax.
Okay, we're getting closer to home after that re-jump. Wonder why it took us this path instead of this path. I guess it would be a little bit shorter by a jump or two, probably. Okay. It did look longer in the map, but it's actually shorter in the number of jumps. AMD video drivers having a lot of problems on Windows 10 and 11 right now. Of course, one place where AMD doesn't have driver problems. Linux. And that's actually why I'm seriously considering getting an AMD card for the next time, because I want to switch over to Linux for everything. Pretty much all the games I actually want to play
Jump completed. Darknell.
will run. Abby just went live. I need to adjust the volume down so I don't have to listen to it blare. Okay, anyway. Run Windows in a VM if you need it for work. That's actually what I'm doing right now. Like, not right now, but there's some stuff I need to do on Windows for work at the moment. And I'm using Windows VM for that. But I could also run games in a VM. Most of the ones that I can't run directly on Linux will work in a VM. And the few that have, like, I don't really play anything that has hard anti-cheat that won't play nice. But I could keep an older Windows install around as a dual boot or something for that kind of thing if I have to.
Jump completed. Meridian.
But I don't think for all my current games, I think will work just fine on Linux. I was experimenting a little bit with trying to run, because I got the Windows VM flying around anyway, because I'm using it for work. I have VMware Workstation installed on the Linux computer, because, once again, need it for work. I was like, you know, let's try a few games. So one night I just fired up what games in it. And worked pretty well. Obviously, I'd prefer to run them under Proton or something, but X4 has native Linux support, but it's not 100% the same as Windows. Yeah, I've heard that the native Linux support for X4 is actually pretty good. I obviously haven't tried it yet, because I don't really want to. I don't want to install Steam on my work system, you know? Never mind the fact that the work system is the same thing as my game system, just with a different operating system. And even if there are problems, I assume it'd probably work fine under Proton.
Get off my radar.
Jump completed.
It's surprising how
Continue.
well Proton works. It's like I got a Steam Deck. I was like, oh, you know, this is gonna. I got the Steam Deck because I need a portable system for when I travel or something like that, so I can not go insane. And I was like, how well this thing works is going to determine whether I drop Windows for good or not. Because I was kind of flirting with the idea that, yeah, you know, Linux support's getting, you know, Proton's getting pretty good, and maybe I should start running Linux for everything, not just work. And so it's like Steam Deck comes up, and it's a perfect opportunity. I, you know, find out how well my games work. So far, everything I've tried to run on the Steam Deck has worked pretty well. So I'm like, this has got some potential here. And then
Jump completed.
I was experimenting
Terminus.
with Pipewire some. And it's like, yeah, we could get a pretty good stream setup going here. I think I would need to keep around a Linux. I would need to keep around a Windows dual boot. Because there are a couple of games. But it's just like one or two, and they don't play them that often. I think Scum might be a problem. But I'm not actually sure.
Jump completed. Estignaha.
I'd have to check. It would probably work if I turned the anti-cheat off, but then I wouldn't be able to play. I don't think the Armco server... I'm pretty sure the Armco server runs with the anti-cheat enabled. Actually, I don't know if you can play Scum without... I don't know if Scum has anti-cheat. I think it does, but I have to check. That would probably be the one I'd be most concerned about possibly not working. But I don't play many multiplayer games, so... For day-to-day, most of the stuff, I'd be perfectly happy. Well, let's put it this way. I'd rather be running Manjaro than I would be running Windows 11.
Jump completed. Post.
Currently, I'm running Windows 10. And it's highly unlikely that I'm going to
Empty
switch to
space.
anything else. You know, not switch to anything else. It's highly unlikely that I'm ever going to upgrade to 11. I'm not enthralled by what I've seen out of 11 so far. For you, it's the opposite. There are a few games that only work when you emulate Windows on Linux, like CNC Generals. I need to retry Generals again. I used to love that game as a kid. And I have not installed it for quite a few years. That's definitely on the list somewhere for Nostalgia Night. I just need to figure out when and where. It's really too bad they never made a Generals 2. Or maybe it's a good thing they never made a Generals 2. Not sure if I would fully trust them to make a good Generals 2 is the problem. So did you guys see that LTT video on what was it called again? That one for faking higher frame rates using I don't remember what the rendering technique is called now. Basically, temporal reprojection or something it was called. I think it was called temporal reprojection. You see the mad heatsink fan, 3D print CNC make parts for the deck. Yeah, that's pretty cool too. This rendering technique has the potential to be a game changer if more devs start applying it. Basically what it does is it renders a view of the screen, and then if you, like, say, move your view side to side, instead of rendering it, well, let's say it's rendering at a low frame rate because it's having performance trouble, and you're moving, you're going to get a choppy view, right? Which I'm kind of getting a choppy view now because performance tanked as soon as I entered this system. Not sure what the frame rate is, and I don't want to bring up the frame rate counter and find out either because I'm afraid I'll be sad.
Docking permission granted.
But it reprojects that view so that it looks like you're moving smoothly, even though there's no new information. Then it kind of fills out around the edges using trickery, so you don't notice that it's not actually a new frame. It's just an old frame slightly moved. It's way more complicated than that. It's used in VR to try to keep up with things when frame rate starts to tank a little bit. It's used to keep the view looking smooth in VR. But nobody really thought to do it in standard games on standard screens. So it has the potential to get smoother looking views on crappier hardware. No, it's not DLSS. Although there is potential to use it together with DLSS. And use something like DLSS to fill in the missing information. Yeah, I think it's called temporal reprojection. It's pretty cool. Mostly it'll be cool for people who have crappy systems, but that's a surprising number of people, so I guess. Okay, we need to check to see if we're actually getting enough solar power out of this place. DLSS is also cool. I don't really use it though, because I don't really need it. Okay, so we are indeed working on starting the second level. We have 8 million. We'll just go ahead and drain the station account. Okay, energy cells. We are consuming almost as much as we're producing. And these guys aren't running, probably because we don't have quite enough energy cells, I'm guessing. Yeah, we need more energy cells. All right. So let's go ahead, plan build. Copy sequence. 1 rack of these might not be enough, so let's do 2. Okay. And then we will detach. Stop it. Detach and reattach that. Move them back to the end.
Permission to dock.
Confirm
Docking
changes.
permission
Go ahead and add more money to the account. Boom. There we go. Trying to decide if you should get this game or not. This game is very cool. Assuming that you like economy games combined with space shooters. I'm playing a mod right now, but most of the basic gameplay is pretty similar between the mod and vanilla. So I am currently flying around in a Star Wars ship, which obviously is not going to be in the base game. But the vanilla ships are pretty awesome too. X4 is the only game you can on purpose go AFK. That sounds risky. That very much sounds risky. How long have I played? Total, I have about 430 hours roughly. And for this particular save, that's not the button I wanted. Here we go. This particular run has taken me about, I think this is 1 day, 20 hours. So I haven't really sunk that much time into it yet, but I've got, some amount. There's definitely probably people in chat who have a lot more hours in it than I do. Path of Exile, you played 9K hours trying to find a game to help beat that. This will definitely suck your time down. I tend to like games that I can put a lot of time into. And this fits right in with all that kind of thing. Oh, thank you very much for the follow. I have no idea how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry. I guess I'll just grab a section off the end and call you Kaizen. And if that's not correct, then you can correct me. Shifuju Kaizen. Okay, I'm just gonna hope I got that right. And I probably mangled that even worse, but... Anyway. Thank you very much for the follow. It's greatly appreciated. New DLC coming early next year. Okay. I hadn't seen that news yet. I knew they were working on something, but I didn't know that they were working on it that soon. Yeah. This is a very, very replayable game, for sure. I'm playing this mod solely because I wanted to mess around with Star Wars ships. But as soon as I'm done with this run, I'm going to go straight back to vanilla and play more of that. So I'm not playing this mod because I'm bored with vanilla or anything like that. I just wanted to, fly around a TIE for a while. Every time they release a new DLC, they do a lot of upgrades to the base game. So I've heard. I did start playing this after the latest DLC was released, so I can't say from personal experience, but so I've heard. TIE Fighter, it's the sound that does it. Yeah, the sound design in this mod is pretty good. They did a good job. The developers of this mod just did a really good job overall. These station components and stuff are all vanilla. But there are stations, other station components that are mod. I just don't have any on this particular station, I don't think. And of course the ship is modded. Let's go take a look at the Pretender. It should be right over there. Been enjoying X4 a lot lately. Does good to reduce the itch to return to Eve. There are some people who say that X4, or the X series in general, are Eve offline. I've never really played much Eve, so I can't really confirm that. Anyway, this is my capital ship. It's kind of small. It's just a cruiser. But it is a capital ship, sort of. Mount some heavy turbo lasers on top. Oh, autosave. Autosave takes quite a while. There are meds for that itch. Psychiatrists can prescribe them for you. Single player Eve is fairly accurate. Yeah. I tried a little bit of Eve. I played the tutorial. I got out of the tutorial and it's like, I don't know. I don't think I want to play this, and then I quit. Anyway. This ship spends a lot of time sitting here because I don't really want to risk it just yet. I don't have anybody I need to see off just at the moment. At least not anybody I would trust a light cruiser against. I guess that would actually be more like a heavy cruiser. Eaglesoft is still exploring making a multiplayer game based on X4, but it'd have to be different. There's so much potential to ruin it. X4 could be made into a very good 4-ish player co-op game. Where everybody works together to run a single empire. But outside of that, I see a lot of potential to just do it wrong. Very risky business. Players need to be limited and constrained for true multiplayer online play. Much better to limited co-op. Exactly. Because with co-op, you don't really need to worry about balance. If you're trying to make adversarial, then there would be PvP balance to worry about, and it's just... that way lieth problems. Many, many problems. If they actually tried to make something that has PvP in it, I see only a mediocre PvP game that nobody really plays much past launch. Unless it's got a really good single player component attached to it, and then it's just a waste of development time to have added the multiplayer. Imagine a multiplayer would be a typical RTS 4X game like Stellaris. Lots of zerging toward building stations be involved. Yeah.
Requesting permission to dock.
Docking permission granted.
Yeah, as long as it was just a couple of friends playing together in co-op, I could see it working pretty well. I said it a long time ago, and I'll say it again. I think a good, solid co-op game would be fine. But anything past that is... it just isn't X4 anymore then. Well, it just doesn't X at all anymore. Because after all, there was an X1, X2, and X3 to get here. Plus a few branches along the way. And all of those are basically this, but slightly less refined in different ways. Each X game just builds upon the previous ones and gets better. But if there's a hypothetical XMP at some point in the future, I don't know. Co-op would be fun, though. I would definitely be all for a co-op game. Fortunately, the dev is the original one, runs the company, no plans to sell or sell out. Yeah, that's always... If the X brand ever got sold to a big company, they would just kill it. They might try to crank out some kind of space shooter using the X brand, but it wouldn't be X. Because let's face it, this game is a really niche product. It has basically no mass market appeal. Which is fine. You don't need to make games that appeal to the mass market. With Steam, you have enough reach that you can get to smaller communities quite easily. And bam, bonk. It's perfectly fine to make games that appeal to a relatively small segment of the population. You can make money that way. You just can't make giant AAA game studio money. Glad the devs allowed mods as to replay value. Yeah. And, of course, allows tweaking things that you don't like. I definitely added a couple small mods to remove things I found frustrating or annoying. And in future runs, I'll probably try to add some mods to make it more difficult. You pick up the DLCs as well? Definitely. Some of the DLCs are less required than others, but particularly the one that adds the Terran and the Split factions are probably the most required in my opinion.
Docking permission granted.
Eaglesoft just hired some really good modders to expand the dev team. Well, that's good. Yeah. Mods are pretty fertile ground to improve a game. But there's a right way and a wrong way to do that. Kurti is wrong. His mods are great. Oh, really? He's one of the guys who made the AI mod that I run. So that's cool. I probably mangled his name, by the way. But oh well. Hopefully we can get some nice vanilla AI improvements out of that. There's quite a few mods that are really good. Probably. I haven't really looked around for what kind of mods there are that much yet. When I went looking for mods, I was looking for specific things to do a specific, fix a specific problem I had with the game. And mostly found what I was looking for too, which is nice. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Hopefully some nice stuff comes of that. There's a right and a wrong way for a game dev to interact with their modder community. There's some devs who just flat out... Well, I shouldn't say interact with there's a right and a wrong way for a developer to involve a mod with the base game. I think there's multiple wrong ways. One wrong way is just to ignore modders. It's like here maybe have some mod tools at best and go away. Don't bother us. That's a wrong way. because you're not making use of the asset you've created, or at least helped slightly support, or at least tried not to smash, depending on how ambivalent to modding team the modding community the game developers are. Then there is the, we're going to integrate your mod into the game, but we're not going to give you any credit, and we're going to do a scuffed, crappy version of it.
Docking granted.
We're going to take your, basically we're going to take your idea and then half-ass it and call it a day.
Aborted.
Sadly, that's a surprising number of developers do that kind of thing. Sometimes they'll pay the modder a little bit of money to shut them up. But usually what you get is a shitty version of whatever the modder already had.
Requesting permission to dock. Docking permission granted.
For example, Space Engineers has done that more than once. And then there's the good kind. There's, of course, various graduations in between all that, you know. Some devs are slightly less scummy than others. And then there's the guys where they're like, hey, what, I see what you did with that mod. That's really cool. May I please use that? And they grab that modder's work wholesale, put it straight into the game, credit the guy, maybe pay him some money. And generally are just really cool about the whole thing. Don't try to hide where it came from. There's a very subtle difference between the steal your content devs and the make your content part of the base game in a good way devs. That very subtle difference is really important. For example, there's a game called Vintage Story. Most of you may or may not have heard of it. It's kind of a Minecraft-like block game, but it's more based on the way, I don't know, the Terraformacraft mod for Minecraft was. More of a survival focus. A little less fantasy in some ways. It's kind of like a, I don't know, just more survival focused. I used to play that game some, and I used to mod it some. Somewhere in that code base, there is a specific file to help control rotating certain blocks when they're placed. And at the top of that file, it says, copyright such and so date, Milo Christensen, licensed under CCO. I wrote that code. I made a mod that used it. The dev was like, hey, that's pretty cool code. Can I use it? I was like, sure, no problem. Here, I'll even change the license to this to make it a little easier for you. Changed it to CCO, which would be basically no, well, not no copyright, but it would be anybody can use it for anything, basically. Which he didn't ask me to do, by the way. I volunteered that. And it went into the game, and I think my name might be in the credits somewhere, but I'm not actually sure. I haven't really looked. But the dev was a pretty cool dude about it, and he was like, hey, you know, can I use this code? It's pretty cool. Like, yeah, sure, why not? Go ahead. Do whatever you want with it.
Docking granted.
And that is how you treat your modders. If you want to use something that a modder made, you ask them nicely and you do it. If they say yes, which
Docking
most modders are going to be flattered to put their code into the game. They will be delighted. If you treat them like a human, modders are going to go out of their way to let you use their code. Especially if you give them a little bit of an ego pump while you do it, you know, put their name in the credits or something. And special thanks to, and they have a list of modders. These people for extra content, that, or, you know, whatever. That kind of thing just tickles people pink.
Docking granted.
What you don't do is you don't pay a modder for the code and then not use it and make a shitty version of it instead. And then don't credit the guy Because after all, you paid for it. Now it's yours, right? There's a lot of shitty companies out there.
Docking aborted.
When they launched the 4.0 beta, they had new features that they couldn't figure out make work and asked players modders to suggest fixes, and then they did what the community suggested. See, that's pretty cool. That's a good thing to do. Because another thing communities like is listening. You're having the devs listen to them, even if it's in a minor way. And you know, you don't even need to put their name in the credits. You can just put, and thank you to the community, and some kind of release post or something. That'll make people just feel happy about themselves. Yeah, it's not hard. It just, every time you run into a big drama about some game dev doing some shitty thing with some modder's work, it's like, people, it's not hard. It's not hard to have not done that way. You could get the same exact effect you wanted and made the community really happy with you. You didn't have to do this. This landmine was not buried. It was right out in the open. You could see it before you step on it. You didn't have to do that. And yet, over and over again. Oh well. Good developers will be good developers, and shitty developers will be shitty developers, I guess. Okay, so it looks like we're getting more solar online. Let's see how this is doing. Tonight it's just turned into a lot of Milo flies around and randomly and talks. Not sure how that happened. Okay. They have not actually completed any extra solar panels, or have they? No, I don't think they have. They've almost completed one. Got about 6.5 minutes left on it. It does look like everything sort of is online. But this is running very slightly, consumption very slightly over production. So when they complete the last 4 panels, that should be enough to run the whole station without importing energy cells. Also, let's suck that money out of the account. And let's go ahead and put it back into the building account. All of it. We still need almost 40 million. Build this thing. Yeah, they did the 4.0 beta. I think I read something about that earlier. It meant the best they could think of. Knew it sucked, so they put it in the beta and asked for suggestions how to do it. It didn't suck. Yeah, that's pretty cool. What's up with that? Twitch, actually a lot more services than just Twitch to do this, but if you put word.word, it'll try to turn it into a URL. Because ever since what do I call it? The registry was opened up for more top level domains. And so if you have enough money, you can just go buy a custom top level domain now. So rather than try to keep up constantly with what the current list of valid top-level domains is, everybody just kind of threw up their hands and said, whatever, we'll just do anything dot anything. It looks like a link now. Which I think dot beta may even be a valid TLD, I don't know. The list of valid TLDs nowadays is huge.
Requesting permission to dock.
some big companies own their own TLD, for example, that just that company's websites are on, which is just kind of crazy. And then there's some TLDs that charge outrageous amounts of money to try to use them, and it's like, okay, whatever. And of course, there's all the country code TLDs that are available as well. Some with all kinds of different rules. Like, I think the .ga TLD is operated as a, quote, free service to the public, end quote. So anybody who wants to can just go sign up for a domain through there for free, which is not really worth it, because honestly, domains are so cheap that you might just go buy one. Unless you live in some place where domains aren't so cheap, I guess. Then it could be very worth it. Anyway, I should probably stop flying around in circles and get something done. Yeah. So close. We were at 123560. It was just missing a 4. Alas. Nope, here's an autosave. Looks like we got about an hour, a little over an hour before the end of the stream. So that's plenty of time to go do something useful. We should probably explore somewhere. Flying in circles with host ass is fun. You cannot resist. Basically. It is kind of fun in a soothing way. Okay. I don't think I ever actually pinged most of these systems. These I did. Because these were recently explored. Like this one hadn't been pinged until I got there and discovered, oh yeah, we need to find that jump beacon. I don't know how I missed that beacon, because I ordered this system to be explored by a TIE fighter, and I thought it found everything. But I guess not. Okay. This was definitely... Here, let's enter... Oops. There. That should mark any unknown stuff on the map. So I can tell more at a glance which things have definitely been scanned and which things definitely have not been scanned. Also, this is probably not a good idea, by the way, because now I can't see which places have stations. I've discovered everything. Oops. Okay, this one might be the only station in this system. This is a bit suspicious. I wonder if there's... Stuff is more spread out on this. Planned into stream, nobody's gonna make me stop. Well, okay. I need to go to sleep sometime so I can wake up for tomorrow. If you want a nice long Terraria stream tomorrow, I need to go to bed. Sleep is a fiction? Sometimes I feel that way, but... I don't think I ever actually explored this area down here. I probably should do that. Or this one, for that matter. Okay, let's go explore these Outer Rim systems.
Autopilot. Engage.
I need to go confirm that these are actually empty and don't connect to anything useful. More cookies hot from the oven. Oh, I need to con my sister into making some cookies when I go for Christmas. Speaking of which, yes, I am going to be drug off kicking and screaming for Christmas. So there will be a stream break. I'm not sure how long it'll be, but there will be one. That's going to be unfortunate. Oh well. It could be as much as a week, but we'll see. It'll definitely be over the weekend for that weekend. But I don't plan to stay up there long, so it won't be that big of a deal, hopefully. Is it drug off? Well, okay, not drugs,
Jump
drug.
completed. Estate now.
Drug as in dragged. Which I'm pretty sure you knew. But anyway, as much as I'm looking forward to playing Dwarf Fortress next week, I'm also looking forward to playing Terraria this weekend. That should be pretty fun. Get a good solid weekend in of running around and trying not to die. I'm definitely going to try really hard to play more X4 on Monday, though.
Jump
Maybe I'll
completed.
even
Terminus.
get up earlier than normal and we can have a longer stream. Cookies make you fat and happy? Well, I need to be less of the former, but more of the latter wouldn't be bad. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Everything is coming up Milo lately. Because there will be a long break from X4 for a Dwarf
Jump
Fortress.
completed. Routen.
It won't be that long of a break. It'll probably just be most of the week. We'll see. I'm not sure though. I might have to play a bunch of Dwarf Fortress and then set it aside for a little while, and then that might be the weekend game after Terraria for a little while. We'll see. Although I would really like to get back to playing Factorio for the weekend game, because I have some ideas for another Factorio run. So many games, so little time. I want to play more X4. I want to play more Scum. I definitely want to play a lot of Dwarf Fortress. I want to finish the current Terraria run. I want to play more... what do you call it? I'd like to play more Satisfactory.
Jump completed. Uriadu.
Because I need to find out... what the new blueprints are like. Because I've been told that the latest experimental has some kind of blueprint support in it. And if it's got good blueprint support, or at least usable blueprint support, then we need to go back to playing more Satisfactory, because I really would like to finish that game or get some more stuff done in it. Have I played Ministry? Ministry? Yes. I just got done playing a whole bunch of Ministry. That was the weekend game just before the Terraria run started. I played through the original campaign again, and then there was like a week or two of break. And then we played through the new V7 campaign. Ministry's pretty cool. Yeah. Sometime I need to revisit. If the blueprint support's there, I need to revisit Satisfactory. Because Satisfactory was fun. I got so tired of building the same thing over and over again.
Completed. Darknell.
And of course, Factorio. I wouldn't mind playing a couple Ministry Challenge maps or something at some point. If I can find a way to weasel that in. Oh. I have a feeling that Af probably wants me to play Borrow Trauma with him at some point, which would be lots of fun. I don't know if we're going to be playing more Cosmoteer at some point or not. That would also be fun. The list of games I need to play at some point just goes on and on forever. Af says hi. Hello, welcome here. I was just talking about Af a little tiny bit. Were you having fun watching him drown over there? I think he's playing Borrow Trauma right now, isn't he? Yeah, Af's playing Borrow Trauma right now. Okay, almost hit that.
Jump completed. In arc.
So is he having a drowning good time over there, or is he? Are things actually going according to plan? Yeah, I'll find out later in one way or the other.
Die!
How much farther do we have to go before we reach our destination? 3 jumps looks like. Okay, that's not too bad. But anyway. Oh, I just wish I had more time to play video games. Why would you... Okay, whatever. Oh. Why would you do that? Just show up only to say goodbye, I'm going somewhere else. Like,
Jump
why?
completed. Hellenic.
This is mildly concerning. Okay. For a second there, we were close to a capital ship stopped in space. Why not? Don't encourage him, Colo. It just seems vaguely impolite, that's all. Oh, well. You watched him for 3 minutes? That makes it all better. Oh, boy. This is payback for when I left your tools out in the rain as a kid, isn't it?
Jump completed. Vergisso.
He was running around like a chicken without a head. Sounds like Borrow Trauma. Okay, so this is the last jump before we reach our destination. Then we'll scan the system, we'll see if it's actually a dead end or not. If it isn't a dead end, then obviously we will be moving on to the next system from there, but we'll see what's going on. I don't remember what all I left out in the rain. That was many, many years ago. Now it's much shorter back then. I think it was just mostly basic hand tools. Anyway. There's the gate.
Jump completed. Ordo Plutonia.
Those people didn't look very friendly. Well, socket set.
Empty space.
Well, socket sets are fine. They don't have moving parts. Oh, wait, except the ratchet. I'm pretty sure the ratchet would have been included in that.
Disengage. Unknown station.
We're being chased by a unhappy looking Imperial, so we probably better engage. I think he's an Imperial. Whatever he isn't happy with us.
Yoriket.
No, it's a Vong, actually. Well, on that note, let's go back and say hi. I could use a bit of dogfighting in my life. And a screwdriver in the grass to be hit by a lawnmower. Well, that just sounds exciting. Okay. This is going to be an easy fight. We already got him almost dead. Come on. Assuming I can actually hit it. These things are really hard to hit for some reason. There we go. I think these lasers are just slower than a lot of weapons in X4. Vanilla, to be clear. Ooh, that was close. Okay, we better let the guns cool. Boom. Alright. What do you have there? A chipmunk? Or is that supposed to be a squirrel? Chipmunk. Okay. I didn't know there was a chipmunk emote. Why do I have flight assist disabled? Okay, whatever.
Unknown station.
Let's go check out that station. I'm curious what might be out there. It's either a pirate station or it could be a Vong station, actually.
Requesting immediate backup.
Yoriket.
Yeah. Let's not tie them on until we find out what this station is. If it's another Vong station, that might be kind of cool. Because I'd like to know where one of these is. Maybe show up with a small fleet and give them a hard time. It looks like it might be a Vong station. It's oriented correctly. Yeah, it's almost certainly. Let's try to deploy a couple satellites around here and see if one lasts long enough too. Those are probably going to be targets. Yeah, that's definitely a long station. Okay, that's cool. It's a good reuse of the signal amplifier model. Okay, let's get out of here. That's the second one of those I've discovered. I don't remember where the other one is, and I can't seem to find it again.
Jump beacon. Vergesso.
Okay, so this is definitely a dead-end system, though. That's weird. Okay. Got a couple satellites around it. Yeah. So from here, we'll move over to this one next.
Autopilot. Engaged.
Hello, Runastar. Welcome here. Dad's over in Aft's chat being weird now. Oh. Why me?
Requesting immediate backup.
Okay, so we've explored that place. We'll explore this one. This one, I don't think I've scanned this one yet.
Jump
Yeah.
completed. Vergesso.
Fairly short trip. After we scan these two systems and whatever's out past them, which shouldn't be much, but there'll be something there, then we'll see. I should check while I'm thinking about it. How is our little miner here doing? He's not making much money at all, is he? Oh well. It's a good thing we pulled the large miner out of here. It'd be worse, I bet. Let's clear his failed behavior there. Yeah, I seen you. You know, sometimes I wonder what Af thinks of you. Like, wow, no wonder Milo's so weird. No, got a sound bug. Not too bad of one, but... You scare him? Probably. Probably.
Jump completed. Hellenic.
Okay, so Hypori Miner isn't making much money at the moment. I should probably do more satellite deployment in this area. It's like, where did we get up to with our satellite deployment? We got up to here, was it? Yeah, this place is satellited more or less. This place is not. This way we got to here. So really we don't have much of it satellited, just kind of this area right here. I think all the way down to here? Yeah, down to here is satellited. I should probably get these 4, 5, this kind of area more. Camino, maybe or maybe not. But I should probably at least do up to Hypori. about later. That'll probably be time killer for future streams, because we are going to need to kill a bunch of time yet before to get the before we get this station done. And even when this station's done, well, Slasher is back in Saginaw. What did they call it the first time around? I don't remember. But I assume it's people slashing inflatables. Or is this a different kind of slasher? Okay, so we're positive on energy cells finally, so that's good.
Jump completed. Zerpar.
Okay. Everything's running. We're actually doing okay-ish on Silicon and ore. We probably need to buy another miner or two, though. I don't know if this is holding. Gas seems to be doing okay. But I would be a little bit concerned about the ore. We'll see. For now, let's sink more money into construction. Where are we at? We are not at our destination. We just rammed somebody. Thank you, autopilot. I appreciate you very much. Blow up Santas and deer are fearful. Yeah, for those who don't have the context, many years ago when I was young and much shorter than I am currently, although actually it wasn't that many years ago, there was a slasher out and about during the holiday seasons. They would go around and slash those stupid inflatable lawn ornaments. And so they would deflate and over on their sides and lay there pitifully unable to inflate because they had a big hole. I don't know if they ever caught them or not. I think they did catch somebody who was doing it, but I'm not sure if that was
Jump
the actual
completed. Reload.
or a copycat or what. But it was really funny. At least I thought it was really funny. I'm pretty sure people who owned the inflatable ornaments didn't think it was funny, but I mean, you stick some big tacky inflatable thing in your yard, you kind of maybe deserve it. Sorry if anybody has big inflatable things in their yard. But anyway. Definitely a thing I would recommend against, but a bear slash the Grinch in the UP. Yeah, see, the bear knows what's up. It's like, ugh, these things are tacky. Get away from me.
Jump completed. Rhea.
Okay. Let's go ahead and...
Autopilot. Engaged. Autopilot. Disengaged.
Okay. It didn't give me the autopilot disengage sound, so I was worried it might not have actually disengaged. But nope, it disengaged. Let's drop a scan.
Unknown object.
It's probably a gate. Okay, let's go hit
Unknown
that station up
station.
and then we'll go to the gate. Because I'm kind of curious who has a station out here. It might be another Vong station. I think I can kind of make out something against the black background, but it's kind of hard to tell what it is. They called the cops and the cops found the evidence, namely bear shit. Also, claw attack would probably look a little different than the than a knife. Yeah, this looks like a Vong station. Targets to come out and smack later. Okay, I don't know if I want to bother dropping a satellite at that one. That's an armed beacon. What was this one called? Armed beacon, okay. Interesting.
Unknown object.
Alright, let's go find out. I think this looks like a gate. Somebody ate our inflatable Grinch. Oh. And when the Scooby Gang pulled the mask off,
Jump
it was the
completed.
bear all along.
Smuggler's Run.
Another bear story for F. Oh, okay, this system. This is the place we're going to go next. Well, that's okay, I guess. We'll ping and see if there's another gate here. You need to get around to recording the Marty the Muskrat story. Or writing it down in a form that is shareable. Because I know quite a few people who would enjoy reading that. Let me just do a ping. There may not be anything else in this system, but I am moderately hopeful. Okay, it looks like there probably isn't anything else here. We'll do one more scan to be sure, but realistically,
Jump beacon. Reloff.
we will be leaving shortly. Yeah, looks like the system's empty. Okay. Well, that was a useful bit of exploring. We uncovered an extra jump that doesn't seem useful for anything. I don't know what kind of resources these places have. This one's barren. This one has a few gases. Okay, that's not really that useful thing. They changed all your pills around, so you're kind of messed up. Well, that's not good. I think we're gonna head back home.
Jump completed. Reloff. Autopilot. Engaged.
Yeah. Okay, so we have 120,000 in our bank account at the moment. That's very little money. And we have not that much more than that in the station account. Although the station construction account is relatively more flush. It's just that we kind of need it to be relatively more flush. That's a lot of module prefabs. You're gonna go tell Af about the bear, be back soon. Well, have fun. Yeah, construction is coming along fairly well. We have enough electric production online to run everything, and we're going to have enough. They're not quite done building the electricals right now. It takes so long to build one of those solar panels. Like 20 minutes to build each one. After that, it should speed up a little bit, though. Oh. Oh. Yeah, this station's almost
Jump
done.
completed. Zerpar.
I don't know if I'll ever add anything else onto it, but we definitely have enough room in here. We could add another... I think we could add another station backbone. But we don't need another one. Even just this one is way more than we need. What did it ram? Did we hit a rock? I think we hit a rock. I think we hit a rock. Autopilot. Autopilot did a derp. That's so many module prefabs. Okay, microchips don't seem to be selling. Actually, I should check to see what has been selling lately before I say things like that. Durasteel plates, capacitors, microchips. We did sell some. Only 90 of them though.
Jump
That's
completed.
not very many.
Arcanus.
Durasteel plates, capacitors. Okay, so some small amount of microchips are being sold. Just not very many at a time. Looks like they're selling about 90 at a time. BAO Universal Trader. Wait. EFF1. REH 900. Did REH 900 come back? No, he didn't. Okay. I was going to check to see if you might have somebody doing a trade. Oh wait, here we go. REH 900 indeed came back and bought 90 more microchips later. Interesting. Okay.
Jump completed. Hellenic.
At least I'm not... For some reason, my station in the last game, I would find just random wares dumped around it for no particular reason. Just dumped in space. And it looked very much like the AI was buying something and then immediately dumping it instead of hauling it to where they need to go. So I don't know if there was some kind of weird bug going on with that or what was going on. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more jumps. Not that far. We've actually got quite a bit done today so far. Most of it passively. We got a little bit of exploring done. But getting the last of the microchips online, getting energy cells back online. I should check actually. How are we doing on silicon ore? Okay, so silicon ore aren't an emergency. We're producing enough. Barely.
Jump
Microchips.
completed.
Why
In
aren't
our-
all the microchips working? Oh, because our microchip storage is full, of course. Yeah, microchip storage is full, so we can't make more. Same with capacitors. Okay. Alright, that works. Where are we at? How long are we gonna take to get here? Alright, not very far. Just a little ways. Couple more jumps. I need to get I really want this station finished before I try to build any other stations. Also, I would really like to build a solar plant in Bespin, because for some reason that has 200% sunlight.
Jump completed. Darknell.
And I would really like to try starting to focus on making ship parts in general. I'm not sure what to start with, though. Let's take a look at the encyclopedia here for a second. Okay, let's say we wanted to make Imperial 2 Star Destroyers. Actually, there's 2 different kinds of Imperial Star Destroyer 1. Oh, this one doesn't have any construction method. Weird.
You're finished.
So what's the difference between these two? Large turrets, same number, same amount of health.
Jump completed.
It has a speed listed, but it
Reanimal.
doesn't have an actual engine listed. It just says that's the speed.
You're in serious
That's
trouble.
weird. That's really weird. Anyway, that's not what I was here to look at, though. What I was here to look at, rhodium core is what we would need for capital ships. Okay, what would we need if we wanted to build, say, frigates? Rhodium core, okay.
Eat plasma.
So, is that for all large size? Let's check on trading ships. Acclimator 1 transport. Yeah, but the number drops way, the amount needed drops way down. Okay, so we're going to need to get those produced. Also, we'll need to produce more Durasteel plates. And energy cells, of course, but that's no big deal. Match pitch rate is different? Yeah, I noticed that, but I also noticed it was
You're in for it.
not listing an engine for that. Which was odd because
Jump completed. Rutan.
didn't know what the UP was. Well, he doesn't live in Michigan. What do you expect? Or he never did live in Michigan, I doubt. Actually, I don't know. Maybe I did live in Michigan at some point. Although I highly doubt it if you didn't know what the UP was. Okay, so production module. Do I even know how that particular production module is made? No, I don't. Okay. We might need to find a station that produces those and... Okay, trade filters. Oh. Well, would you look at this? Who sells it? This high-tech factory right here. Okay, let's go set guidance to that. And we'll go scan it and see if we can get that added to our encyclopedia. Oh.
Jump completed. Terminus.
Yeah. How many more jumps do we have? Because now I'd really like to go... okay. 1, 2, 3 jumps to get to the station I want to scan. Don't know why I didn't. Okay, must be that wasn't one of the stage systems I was scanning stations in. Because to kill some time at an earlier point, I was scanning a whole bunch of stations in the area. Also to help flesh out the encyclopedia. But I guess this system wasn't one of the ones that I did that in. It's a lot of cores. How much does each one cost? Not very much. It might be cheaper just to buy them.
Completed. Estignaha.
Yeah. it might be cheaper just to buy those, because even the large ships don't use that many. Do they? Okay, an Imperial 2 uses 400 of them. Yeah, that's not many. I might let the AI make those. Okay, so that leads us to equipment. Engines is probably a good place to start. Engines require antimatter converters and engine parts. So we want to make both of those. That might be a reasonable thing to start producing. Thrusters require antimatter converters and engine parts. Okay, same deal. Shield generators require field coils and shield components. Okay. And then
Jump completed. Post.
weapons require advanced electronics and weapon components. Alright. So each of the main components requires 2 different bits to make it. So we're going to need to have 6 full production lines. Although I think some of those bits are used as parts of the previous production line somewhere in there. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if advanced electronics was used as a advanced electronics? What were they called again? Damn it, autosave, get out of the way. Advanced electronics, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if advanced electronics were used as a component to make one of the other components. Probably not weapon components, but something similar maybe. We're definitely gonna need all that stuff. In probably largish amounts. Especially if we want to build giant fleets. Okay, we're coming up on the last
Autopilot.
jump.
Disengaged.
After this, we just have a short flight to the station we're going to be scanning.
Jump completed. Matao.
And then we go scan the station. Go ahead and stop guidance. I don't have to deal with that. Giant fleets make this mod look really good. So far, I haven't run into any of those yet. Or at least I haven't run into any of those where I was actually, fighting it. There were some pretty large fleets at some of the gates I flew through. Large by X4 terms, anyway. But I would like to build a giant fleet. Imperial 2s with large fighter wings. Mix of cruisers. All the fun stuff. Okay. Scanning. Reveal to me your secrets. I really, really, really miss my Maria. The Maria is the best ship. Fight me. Well, okay, there has to be some room in there for the Asgard. And the Sin. And the, oh, whatever it's called again. The Split Destroyer. And the Raptor. Okay. Vanilla has a lot of nice ships. I think the Maria is the best, though. Yeah, Rattlesnake. There we go. I'd call it vibrator snack, but that'd be weird. Okay. You're currently disguised as Florida Man? There's a rhodium refinery. Is this a vanilla part? Because if it is, I've never seen it. Okay. Looks kind of like it might be a vanilla part. But I don't think I've ever seen this one. Cool. It could be a mod part too, I guess. If it was a mod part, you would think they would have either not labeled it, or not lettered it, I should say, since I don't really know what that label is supposed to be saying. Or, lettered it with, oh, what's the Star Wars alphabet called again? Arubish or something? I probably just mangled that pronunciation terribly. Anyway, we got what we came here for. We scanned that refinery. Now, to check out an encyclopedia. There we go. It produces 30 iridium cores, requires... Okay, that's really straightforward. I think this stuff is the replacement for... or the renaming of... whatever it's called again. That really rare purplish crystal stuff in vanilla. Anyway, we could mine it down here. Which is somewhat risky, maybe. It probably costs a bazillion.
Jump beacon. Hov.
Well, let's go back to Hoth. And then maybe we'll go to the faction rep and see how much that blueprint would cost. I'm sure it's tremendously expensive, and even if it isn't tremendously expensive, unless it's like super cheap, I don't think I'm gonna bother with it because the material's not that expensive and we can buy it relatively cheaply right there. I think that's probably a better use of our time, is just buy it from the AI for a while. I'm going to check to see how much shipyards cost, though. It's going to take quite a while to get everything built up to be able to run a shipyard. But I want to do some quick mental math and figure out how close we are to, or rather how far away we are.
Jump completed.
To being able to buy the blueprints, we're going to need to run a
Jump beacon. Anot.
shipyard. Completely on our own. It's going to be an obscene amount of money. Even just to buy the blueprints for the production facility is going to be an obscene amount of money. I really, really, really miss the ability to just go steal production blueprints by scanning them. That was super helpful in vanilla. I will never complain about the research ever again. Okay. And through the gate.
Jump completed. Anot.
Is disabled in the Star Wars mod? Yeah, as far as I can tell. That's not what I want to do. Where is that blasted station? I messed it up. Now I can't find it. There it is. I have encountered... I don't know if research is completely disabled or not, because I have encountered something that I think will get me a player HQ. Because there are some stations with the Avengers station near them. And when you fly within a certain distance, the game gives you a mission to destroy the defenders to capture the station.
Docking permission granted.
But I'm guessing the research stuff has too many voice lines from a certain character attached to them.
Docking granted.
And it would require a lot of effort to remove him from the quests. I don't know if they did any research at all. But we'll see. Okay. I really have no idea what's up with those stations, but I guess we'll find out. What I want to do here? Oh yes, I want to talk to the rep.
TIE Defender.
It could be that those stations have some other special effect. Or they could just be normal stations that you can capture for some bizarre reason. Okay, representative's office. Guess the only way to find out is to, Boso, Jar Jar, same thing. No, Boso's a lot cooler than Jar Jar. Jar Jar is just annoying.
It's an honor to see you here.
I would like to buy a blueprint, except I don't actually want to buy one. I just want to see what they cost. Okay. Antimatter converter production. That's an expensive one at 24 million. Advanced composites at 8 million. Droid parts we can probably skip for a good long while. Field coil production, which is going to be important for making shields. 24 million. Ouch. Rhodium refineries, pretty cheap actually. Okay. You know, Jar Jar would have been a lot better if they'd stuck to the Darth Jar Jar plan. Even then he would have been kind of dumb, but it would have been at least funnier. Turret component production, weapon component production, not too bad. Field coil production is going to hurt though. Most of these are surprisingly cheap, only like 4 or 5 million. Okay. Eventually we're going to want to start producing, we're going to have to have workers and all that stuff, but we don't have to deal with that right away. Droid parts. Antimatter converter production. Yeah, a lot of these are painful. Okay, build modules though. That's where the real pain comes in. Huh. 216 million for the small ship fabrication bay. Ouch. Hopefully we can make all that by selling ship parts to various interested parties. Scrap stuff is downright reasonable. I wonder if they rebalance the power draw for scrapping. They didn't change the descriptions. Ship blueprints are also going to be kind of killer. Light ships, of course, are pretty cheap. But if you want, say, miners, 20 million. Not too bad. What do they have for transports? Valor class. I'd probably want to get a, whatever it's called again. What do we have in the way of mediums? The Action 4s are relatively cheap. We might... It's going to be a long time before we can build L or XL ships for sure. Weapon blueprints are pretty reasonable. What's available here? Turrets, not too bad either. Even with the heavy turbo laser isn't too bad. Of course, that's just this faction. Okay, so these aren't too bad. If we can afford to buy the ship blueprint, we'll be able to afford to buy the stuff to equip it. Large all-around Mark III thrusters are pretty expensive, of course, but not compared to the XLs. Time for you to go. Too many cookies. See you later, Amendment Man. Yeah. We're not going to be able to afford any of this stuff for a long time, but the build modules are both, or the production modules are both better-ish and worse-ish than I thought they would be. Yeah, because we already have microchip production up, so I think the next thing to go for after that would probably be advanced electronics, which is actually pretty reasonable. We would want to do this all in a completely new station, of course, which means we'd build a whole new microchip plant. But the important part is that we have the blueprints. Because once our current station is
Good
finished,
luck out there.
blueprints are going to be the only cost that matters. Because we'll be able to produce all the components we need. Then it'll just be time as the only expensive part. We might need to increase production on our current station. But that would be... Get out of my seat. That would be the only real... If you end up having to sit around too much waiting for components to finish so we can build stations, we might have to make it bigger, but the main thing is
Docking permission granted.
if I have enough storage on board the station, we should have a large stockpile, and then we can just kind of do whatever we want. There's our gate. We just let the storage fill, and then we'll have enough stuff to do, you know, large construction. We're definitely gonna need tens of thousands of modular or modules, prefab modules. We're probably going to have quite a few AI trying to buy those from us.
We're taking hits.
Where? Okay, he'll be fine. He's being rescued by the locals.
Jump beacon. Hov.
I think he's being rescued by the locals. Yeah, there's a patrol Valor right there. And he still has shields for that
Jump
matter.
completed. Hov.
He'll be fine. This station looks a little derpy. The top arm here was definitely too long. But it does allow for lots of expansion room. So it looks like the solar production is almost done. They're working on the last panel, I think. Yeah. Pretty sure that's the last panel. Then here's the secondary spine. Obviously they haven't started working off that yet because they're still working on solar panels. Bonk. No, we're inside the storage. Trapped forever. Help. Help. Somebody call a tow truck. Or a tow ship. Come on. Wiggle, wiggle. You can get out of here. You've done it before. Or not this exact piece, but... No, stop. Don't. The secret to getting out of these things is to wiggle and roll and wiggle. Ooh, we almost had it. There we go. Uh-oh. Oh, we were stuck up against something else. Almost made it out, though. Come on. Come on. Let me out. Okay, just ramming it doesn't do us any good. We need to... Basically, the way I've found to get out is kind of to get yourself backed up into a weird spot and just kind of wiggle around a little bit. And eventually part of you will get through and the rest of you will kind of follow along with it. And then you can kind of rotate out half the time. Because you can get part of you outside of it, and then you can rotate a little bit, and the rest of you can sometimes come along, and then you just pop, all of a sudden you're outside. Failing that, which it looks like we are currently doing, you can sometimes just smash your way out. Or scrub sideways along it. Okay, that's not going to work. Worst case, you can always order the AI to take control and then they can always get you out. They'll just teleport out. But that is admitting defeat. And I'm not quite ready to do that yet. Come on, let me turn. I have a feeling. I have a feeling. And if I wiggle... Oh, there we go. Okay. That wasn't so bad. Okay, it was bad. That took me longer to wiggle out of that one than it's taken me in a long time. And that's why you don't crash into things if you can at all avoid it. Sometimes they forget they have collision until you're inside and then suddenly they remember again. Okay, so how is the station economy doing? Yeah, our miner got away just fine. Go ahead. We have almost 4 million in its account.
Requesting permission.
Go ahead and pull that out of here.
Docking permission granted.
They do still want to buy droid parts and smart chips. Why is it trying to buy 510 drones? It should only be buying 65. Maybe I'm reading that wrong. Oh, well. Okay, so money is being made. That's good, because the station's going to have to pay for itself. Non-station sources of income are very thin on the ground at the moment. We have a miner in Hypori, and it's barely making money anymore. So the good news is the station is making money at a reasonable rate. Although it's not amazing. You know what? Let's go ahead and set these up before I forget to do it. Because if I forget to do this, then we'll end up buying some, and that's never fun. Okay, these are all set to never buy, right? Never buy. Never buy. Never buy. And Durasteel plates. Durasteel plates is an end product, so there's no reason to do that. The reason these need to be set is because if we don't, then they will create a buy offer once the first module prefab manufacturing thing is done. And then things will go completely wrong in a very quick hurry. All right. How is construction progress actually? I gave money to produce more, but okay, we are 1 minute and 30 seconds away from producing the last of the energy cell production. And then we're going to get started on the last segment of this station. Assuming we don't increase production here, when this is done, the station is done. Which I mean, it's done. It'll just be whether or not it gets renovated later to have more production on it.
Docking permission granted.
Assuming it doesn't need more energy. Which if it needs a little more energy, we might have to add another solar panel, but I think we'll be fine. Matter of fact, I can check to make sure we'll be fine. Okay, module prefab. Consumes 16K or 1600 energy cells per hour. Okay. One of these produces 31. Okay. Energy cell production is currently... Yeah, we'll be fine. More than fine. Unless I'm just a terrible estimator, but I doubt. Okay. So that's really good. At this point, it's just a matter of feeding money in and waiting. Unfortunately, okay, how many million are we short again? You would think I'd just leave this open as often as I keep checking it. The estimate is 30 million, and we currently have a bit less than 5 million in the account. So we're going to need about 25 more million to build this place. That is a not inconsiderable amount of money. That's just a not inconsiderable amount of money. So that's gonna kind of hurt, but if we keep feeding all the money we make into this thing, it shouldn't take that long to build it. Once the first module prefab is online, we can stop buying more module prefabs and just use our own. Actually. We're producing Durasteel plates. There's no reason to buy those from anybody else. Okay. Only buy from us is the global trade restriction. And then we will change that for module prefabs to be no restriction. So they will only get from ourselves everything except the... Because for some reason we need a lot of energy cells and they're not being provided locally. We might need to get a freighter of our own to have this fill up, but we can afford to buy a medium freighter and we'll be fine with that. Once the first module prefab comes, once the first module prefab production comes online, we can stop buying those as well and save ourselves quite a bit of money. Yeah, anyway. Let's go ahead and save the game. And the last unused slot. And I think I'm going to call it here. It is just slightly after 10:30. And we can continue working on this station possibly on Monday. Tomorrow is going to be a nice long all-day weekend stream where we're going to be doing some Terraria. I think, unless something happens to suddenly, unexpectedly change that. But that's pretty rare for weekend streams, so Terraria. Sounds fun. I don't remember what boss we're up to. I guess we'll see when we get there. Yeah. As far as rating somebody, I think Avi just went live. And Af is still playing Borrow Trauma. You know what? Let's go bother Af. That sounds like a fun thing to do. Okay. Yeah. Thank you all very much for coming. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. Streaming wouldn't be much fun without any viewers, so you're a very important component of this channel. Yeah. Hope I see you back here tomorrow for Terraria. If I don't, then oh well. X4 will return on Monday. And then Dwarf Fortress on Tuesday, which I am very much looking forward to. Until then, let's all go hang out at Af's place. He's pretty cool, and he's currently trying not to drown into the sea. So yeah, have an awesome night, and goodbye.